Hi, I'm Jodie Benveniste, a psychologist, parenting author and the Director of Parent Wellbeing. And this is the St John's Grammar Learning Early series. This is a series for parents of young children who are about to start preschool, early learning or school. And last episode we talked about healthy eating and we gave you some great lunchbox ideas. And today we're going to be talking about the early years, the learning experience that 3 and 4 year olds go through the Montessori Early Learning Centre we have here. And it is truly fascinating. So I'm really happy to have Gay here, who is the director. We've got Sue, who teaches the 4 year olds. And we also have Courtney and Caleb, who are parents and their sons here at the Early Learning Centre. So early learning's looking very different, isn't it, than it may have in the past. And what you guys do here is a Montessori approach. So can you tell us just a little bit about the background to Montessori?
Okay. Well, I guess for us, our philosophy, our program is based on Montessori. Montessori was an amazing visionary who probably early last century came to fruition with her philosophy and her teaching practices. And a lot of what she developed over time is still very evident today, and a lot also in general early learning environments. So low chairs, little tables, small brooms, all those sorts of things, so that it is the child's world that they operate in. And so within that, not only does she have her philosophy and practices, but also specific equipment that we have on our shelves here that we work with.
Yep, which we're going to show you in a minute, because that's one really interesting thing about Montessori. Did you want to add anything to that, Gay, about?
Well, I think it's the philosophy that we try to incorporate in all of our work here is the encouraging independence in the children.
Yeah.
And that goes from the smallest things like picking up their own things and putting them away, sweeping up their own messes, wiping their tables when they're finished eating. Those very simple things that are part of everyday life.
Yeah.
And then going right into sort of understanding the world around them and their friends around them. So the respect for the world, respect for their peers, respect for the adults in the room.
Yep.
Yeah, just a whole philosophy of way of teaching.
Yeah, and a way of life, really, it's not just, isn't it? And Courtney and Caleb, you chose to bring your son here. What was behind your decision? What were you looking for when you were thinking about early learning for your son?
Really looking for basically teaching him life skills.
Yeah.
So life skills, but learning through a way that's interactive and focuses on him actually having a go and trying to do things and giving him that confidence and that self-esteem to keep on going.
Yeah.
So really that was really important to us.
Yeah, definitely. Was there anything else that you really noticed that attracted you, Courtney?
I loved the approach about that they get to explore things, the different trays. I watched some other series about it, and I liked how they get the opportunity to do what they like, what they enjoy, or what they need to keep trying, so they get that satisfaction of winning. And yeah, that's pretty much the same as what Caleb said as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that even though they are looking like they're playing with things, there's actually a lot of structure and emphasis that goes on behind that to make sure the children are actually doing something that they want to learn, something so that it's all tailored to the actual child.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is it, do you want to tell us a little bit about what a Montessori day looks like for the children?
Well, there's a lot of preparation that goes into the day, so you don't just sort of cruise in and expect everything to be perfect, because behind the scenes the teachers have spent a lot of time preparing all the environment and making it just right for what we need, of course a lot of planning. But the day would start with people just coming in quietly. It's our aim to try and encourage people to come in and have that respect for the room, to be realising that some people may already be working, so just to walk in quietly, get themselves organised for the children to learn how to unpack their things and put everything where it goes. That's
Not the parents.
Not the parents. It's a really big learning curve for the whole family. And then just to progress through, when most of the children are here, we have both rooms have a quiet mat time where we greet the children and we hear the stories of what's been happening in their lives. And then would go back into play. In the Monty room with the 3 year olds, we have inside play generally first, would regroup into a snack time and a story time, and then enjoy outside, and then before we go home we have songs. But in the preschool room
It's a little bit different because we're now all day, so our day can start from 8 o'clock and go to about 3:15. So we actually have big blocks of time because we really value the work cycle of the children. We actually, even though it looks like play, we actually call it their work, so we refer to it as the children's work time. So we have a big block of work time outside for a couple of hours, and then we also have a big block inside in the afternoon at the moment. It's seasonal, so it will change with the weather. But during that time, it gives those, the children opportunities to be able to focus on and choose work that's been set up around the room, but also outside, so they're able to work on their social skills. So time to be able to be in role play and dramatic play. Conflict resolution when you're in the sandpit and somebody digs or steps on your hole when you were digging. As well as then to be able to, when you're inside, to refocus and paint at the easel, or get yourself a practical life tray, or work with some numeracy or literacy. So, and it's a busy world because each child's journey is quite different, and so we're really encouraging awe and wonderment with their learning, so we want to engage them and get them focused and concentrating, while also being aware that they are part of a group and working with others respectfully.
I love that flexibility where they can choose something that interests them. They can go to that. It's not everybody's doing the same thing right now, whether you're interested or not, or whether you think you're good at it or not. So that's one of the things that I love. They can go paint, you can go pick up a tray or an activity, you can go read a book. But then at the same time, there is still that structure where we're all going to sit in a circle and talk about the days of the week and things like that. So it gets the best of both worlds.
And there's structure around the trays, isn't there? It's not just like toys strewn all over the place.
No.
It's really quite... Do you want to explain how these trays work?
Yeah. Well, I guess one really main area of our room is what we call the practical life trays. And on those shelves are trays that are set up to encourage children with skills that they need for life. So there's lots of fine motor type activities. But say this would be an example of, so on the shelf you'd have a tray like this. And so part of just carrying it to your table is a skill. So for those children whose development really is still working on their gross motor, just to carry this heavy tray without bumping into that table and into that person and then getting it onto the table is a skill. And so this particular one has jugs with pouring. So the idea being that you actually, very carefully, would pour.
Is that polenta or sand?
This is polenta, and this is what we would call dry pouring. So sometimes we would have wet pouring with water. Sometimes we'd have pouring actually to a specific line. So they're really refining in that. And because if you can imagine a skill like this, if you've got a jug of milk in the fridge and your child comes down to pour their milk on their cereal in the morning, home and hosed. They've already learning that skill. Or even just pouring a glass of juice. So lots of those sorts of things. Then within that, part of it is also then what we call getting it ready for the next person, so that the children are encouraged to pack it away back in its place. If there's mess on the tray, that's fine, we just clean it up. We put it on the shelf and it's ready for the next person, because we're also wanting the children to leave things as they've found it, so that in our world, if we can get that mantra of ready for the next person, we're really taking on a care of our environment and our other people, and what a great world we'd have. For future. So there's that. Did you want me to show the other one?
Yeah, show the other one.
Another one. This is from our cultural, thank you. This is from our cultural shelf, and it's got a map of Australia on it. And the idea here is that the children would pour, again, pouring with their jug, pour the blue water in around Australia. So they're learning concept that Australia is an island. It's surrounded by water. And then, for just an added skill, is you get your baster and you get to suck that up and baste it back in, ready for the next person. And what can be lovely is the children will persist, so they're learning to finish something through to completion. Then they learn to problem solve, that actually when you lift it up, you can get more out of it. And I've seen children rest it on the jug. I've seen somebody else get another friend to hold it for them. So there's a lot of problem solving and interacting going on.
But Gay, what about some people who think, oh, but there's going to be a big mess, there's going to be stuff everywhere, the kids are going to, what do you say about that?
Well, there are times, of course, early learning and children. These things do happen. That's fine. That's part of the learning. And in one of Montessori's books, she's written about the fact that a piece of furniture broke, and she never got round to writing to somebody to get it fixed. And then she realised that she could actually the children work their own way around how to solve that problem themselves. So, and that's exactly what they do here. If they've made a mess and they're getting ready for the next person, they'll put things away that they can. If they break a jug, it's swept up, they go and get a broom and they sweep it up, or we get out the vacuum, and even the 3-year-olds get out the vacuum and have a go with the vacuum and, you know, help to tidy it up. And it's not a problem. No one's cross about it. It's just what happens, And then if we can replace it, we might find something else. If we can't, well, that's also life. Bad luck, unfortunately. Some things are gone.
So how have you found the connection at home? Now that your son's here in the early learning, doing with his great trays and other interesting things, have you found that that's flowed into what's happening at home?
Yeah, it definitely has. He's definitely got seems to have more patience for things at home. Actually, he does clean up after himself a lot more at home, and really...
Isn't that fantastic?
He seems more confident at home around the house and with doing things, and really wants to try everything, get everything a go.
Yeah, lots more he's so much more concentrating, so he'll give like some activities in his room where he has to really concentrate and use little tongs to pick up the tiniest little things and put them into another little jar. And so I noticed that he's concentrating and he's trying a lot harder to do it. And he said, you know, he even refers a lot, just like at Monty. And a lot for me as well, giving them those opportunities, trying to carry it through.
So we're not, as parents then, we're letting our kids learn, and we're not robbing them of those learning opportunities. Which is really easy to do because, you know, life is busy sometimes and it's easy to clean up after them or dress them, but then, you know, we're not giving them that opportunity. And the opportunity of experiencing a win in life, you know, experiencing an achievement. And feeling independent and feeling everybody likes to feel that they can do something for themselves. You know, so
and looking at his little face when he does achieve something.
It's
worth it.
And going through that journey with them, because obviously they get frustrated, they can't do something. It's teaching them resilience as well, and then teaching them that or persistence as well, that it can pay off once you reach.
Both my children went through Montessori in the early years, and it is such a fascinating approach. It really does allow children to use their skills and learn and be independent and develop that awe and wonder of learning. And early learning really looks so different to how many of us went through it. I hope this has given you a bit of an idea of the kinds of things that our 3 and 4-year-olds can be doing in Montessori early learning setting, and how that flows on to home life and sets them up with some great life skills. This is, in the next episode, we're going to be wrapping up this Learning Early series. So I hope you can join me to get a wrap, an overview of all the topics we've talked about across this series. And so I hope you can join me then. Thank you.